EA is delisting games. Kojima talks about what could have been for Metal Gear Solid. Spider-Man 2 is coming in September. Redfall is good. And so much more on this week's edition of Carpool Weekly. It's March 24th, and this is Carpool Weekly, here to give you the video game news you need to know about from the week that was. If you like this Carpool content, please leave us a like or subscribe. I'm Court Lalonde.
And I'm Seth Sturgill. In our first story this week, Amazon Luna is now available in the UK, Canada, and Germany. Bobby from Console Creatures writes, Amazon's cloud gaming service, Luna, is now available in Canada, Germany, and the UK. With Luna and the Luna controller, Amazon offers instant access to a library of games that can be played anywhere you have an internet connection. With Stadia being sent to the graveyard, Amazon has stepped in to fill a void left by Google, so all you need is to pick up the Luna controller, which connects to the service via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, to control the game and reduce game latency. You can even switch between compatible screens seamlessly, such as a Fire TV to a mobile phone, without additional pairing or configuration changes. Amazon Prime members can play a rotating selection of games on Luna at no additional cost. Those who join can also link their Ubisoft Connect account to Luna and play Ubisoft PC games through the service. We'll have links to all of the costs associated with Amazon Luna in the comments down below. But Court, what do you make of this? I mean, Google Stadia, unfortunately, kind of had its whole shutdown late last year, and now we have this. What are your thoughts?
Well, we talked about this before the show, and to me, like, it sounds great, and a lot of people have Amazon Prime, so it automatically gets you in, and it's got Ubisoft Connect. But at the same time, we already saw Stadia fail, and we already have a competitor with it's called Game Pass, where you can already play games on the go. I was just away on vacation, and I was able to play my Game Pass games. So to me, unless they get first-party support, I don't see this actually being something that is going to skyrocket and be a major competitor in the marketplace. I totally get why they've jumped into it. I see their thought process, because playing games this way probably is the future, but I see Sony and Microsoft being able to do the same thing and just eating up the competition right now.
I'm in complete agreement with you. I do think that cloud gaming has a place in the future of gaming, but I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to the games.
Well, EA will be delisting some of its Battlefield games. In a blog post, EA writes, as we close in on 15 years since the release of Battlefield 1943 and Bad Company 1 and 2, love Bad Company, we are announcing their journey is coming to an end. Starting April 28th, 2023, Battlefield 1943 and Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2 will be removed from digital storefronts, and you will no longer be able to purchase them. This is in preparation for the retirement of the online service for these titles, which will happen on December 8th, 2023. For Bad Company 1 and 2, you can still continue playing them and use them respective online features, such as single-player campaign. With these titles hold a specific place in our heart. We're now looking forward to creating new memories alongside you, as well as shift our focus towards our current and future Battlefield experiences. The original post also mentioned Mirror's Edge, but was changed later because of outrage that we saw all over the internet, and now they have changed the post. For me, this is okay, whatever. Like, these games are really old. I remember playing Battlefield Bad Company on my Xbox 360. So I don't see this as a big thing. Every time a company does this, though, they do have to get in front of it, because the outrage becomes crazy on the internet, and I truly don't know why. They're already saying you can still play the game. So for me, this is a nothing burger, to be totally honest.
Yeah. It's one of those things where these games are beloved by a lot of people, and a lot of people have nostalgia for them. But the thing is like, and we're seeing a lot of stuff getting delisted. This happens all the time, with online storefronts. Nothing lasts forever when it comes to this, and those servers can't stay up until the end of time. Like, these things are never going to last forever. And I think as long as I'm able to still go in and play them, if I already own them, then I'm totally fine with it. And, a lot of these games are great. I love the Bad Company games too. I'm actually just like, where's Bad Company 3? Like, this whole thing just makes me think of that. Where's that at? Give me Bad Company 3. Yeah. So, but I am glad for Mirror's Edge, though. I am glad that they changed it to not include Mirror's Edge, I guess, because I do love Mirror's Edge. So Keep Mirror's Edge alive. But in our next story, Kojima says that Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes was initially an experiment for a series of episodic games. In an article on VGC, Chris Scullion writes, speaking on Twitter to mark the game's 9th anniversary, Hideo Kojima explained that Ground Zeroes was intended to be a prologue for Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, but that it was also an experiment that could have potentially led to an episodic series. Ground Zeroes was originally planned as a prologue to Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima wrote, saying that the game was, quote, an important introduction to Root Snake's vengeance in the main story, and the theme of Metal Gear Solid 5 is retribution, end quote. Since PS4 was launched at the end of 2013, the game was pre-released with the PS4, Fox Engine, and open world to introduce the new Metal Gear Solid and also to provide feedback to the main game in mind, he explained. Kojima then revealed that he intended to release Ground Zeroes as the start of an ongoing project. The development of a full game takes 4 to 5 years, and times change during production, he explained. So I thought of offering an episodic format like a streamed drama, where one episode is produced and distributed. Ground Zeroes was meant to be an experiment. The Japanese version of Kojima's Twitter thread goes into more detail, stating that the plan was to produce one episode and distribute it, then distribute episodes 2 and 3 while getting feedback. However, he concluded, many people seem to expect Ground Zeroes to be a full game after its release, and they did not understand it. I have a feeling it was too early. So Ground Zeroes, for anybody out there who doesn't know, was a sort of like $40, like 10 to 12 hour prequel game to Metal Gear Solid 5. It was really problematic in terms of its story, but aside from that, I actually really liked Ground Zeroes, but the idea that it could have been something episodic sounds right up Kojima's like weird wheelhouse. What do you think, Court?
This is one of the franchises that I just wish Konami would have just gave to them. I'm just I really enjoyed this series, and I was in the company that I felt Metal Gear Solid 5 wasn't finished properly. I truly think there was more to this game, and I think that there was just the time constraints and what was going on, and they just wanted to get the product out there. I get kind of like bothered by what we could have got from this series, because if we got episodic, we would have got more of like, my guess is something like, he was a big fan of the television series 24. We would have got something like that with Metal Gear Solid, and I think the gaming world is ready for this, and I wish more developers would try that kind of thing. I think Square Enix is trying it with Final Fantasy, but are taking too long. I think if you're going to do this episodic thing, you need to be able to get the games out there quicker.
Would have been interesting. It would have been interesting to see what he would have done with the episodic content thing. And now he's all about Death Stranding, so oh well.
Well, time to get out the pitchforks, because Ubisoft is using AI to generate NPC dialogue in their future games. In an article on Insider Gaming, Grant Taylor Hill writes, Ubisoft has revealed that it has created an AI-powered tool that has developed internally to support scriptwriters in the creation of NPC barks, a phrase used to describe an audio interaction an NPC has when engaging with a player character. Created by teams at Ubisoft LaForge, the tool, Ubisoft Ghostwriters, is expected to reduce strain on development teams by lifting the weight of laborious manual tasks, a perfectly acceptable goal for any technical team. It has been stressed that the tool isn't designed to replace writers, entirely, but to augment their role and make process more streamlined. Ubisoft revealed in a video showing off Ubisoft Ghostwriter and how it works. It still needs human interaction, but you could assume this announcement wasn't met with fanfare from the gaming community. This speaks a lot to Ubisoft trying to cut costs and the gaming industry kind of cut costs. We've seen mass layoffs all across the gaming industry with regards to development side, on the media side. This screams, again, Ubisoft maybe getting ahead, because AI seems to be this new hotness that everybody wants to get into. But it does scream to me that they're going to be firing people.
My whole thing with this is, if Ghostwriter is just this AI tool to help with NPC barks, which is just, as it says, the sort of stuff that you would hear like a guard in a game say, just like, what was that noise? Like those little, or like random dialogue and stuff. Like, if that's what it's creating, how much time are you actually saving? Like, it's not it's not as if it's helping to write the story or anything like
Yep.
this, like big pieces of dialogue. Like, these are just the little NPC barks. So is it really saving that much time? I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I don't know if that's a huge part of your production pipeline, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. My hope, and I haven't seen too many positive takes on this from video game writers, but
Yeah.
my hope would be that they smooth things out and that this ends up being something that does make the development easier for everybody. I don't know. We'll see how it is in practice. But in our next story, Diablo 4, the beta is, of course, the talk of the gaming world. So let's talk about it. The Diablo 4 beta was released for the people that pre-ordered the game or got a KFC Double Down, and the reception has been extremely positive about the game, not the sandwich. During the time period that it was live, all you saw across social media was gamers praising it, calling it a Game of the Year candidate. We haven't seen this much positive buzz of a game since the launch of Elden Ring. It was met with some issue during the beta, as some gamers experienced long wait times to connect to the server to play the game, but gamers are going to get their chance to play it again this weekend as the open beta goes live for everyone to enjoy, so let's hope the servers hold up. I did not pre-order the game, nor did I buy a KFC Double Down. I'm not trying to die today, but I'm looking forward to playing the open beta this weekend and getting my hands on it. I've been a Diablo fan for many, many years, and I put like over 1,000 hours into Diablo 3, so I'm very excited for Diablo 4. Where are you at with it?
100% there with you. And it was interesting enough. The Double Down is not available in Canada, but I was in the US and I had a couple people be like, "Oh, go buy it and then get me the code." I'm
Oh my
like, I don't
gosh.
even want to order this thing. Like, nothing about that sandwich sounds appetizing, but the
No.
game sounds amazing. Everybody I've spoken to that it got to play it said nothing but positive things. The only negative was the wait time, but everybody said you just get over it. You know a game is good when something that is pretty much game breaking, that people were saying it took like a half an hour to play it, they still love the game. Like, only positive, positive, positive. And my favorite game of the year is coming out this weekend, MLB The Show, and I'm going to be playing Diablo 4. Like,
Wow.
100% I'm playing Diablo 4. I love the series. I've loved it since the days on PC. This is a game that I've been looking forward to. Heck, our next story, Spider-Man 2, is another game I'm looking forward to, and we're finding out that it's probably releasing in September. Tony Todd, who is the voice actor for Venom in the game, might have gotten himself in some hot water. In a post on Twitter, Tony replied to a fan and said, "Looks like September. Massive publicity coming in August. Commercials start dropping in August, so I'm told, hold on, hold your breath. Gonna be necessary." He has since deleted the tweet, but the news circulated on Twitter like Spidey spinning a web. If the news is true, Spider-Man 2 will release at the exact same month as Xbox big release Starfield. This could shape up to be one amazing September for gamers. It already sparked the controversy of everybody running out there and saying, Xbox versus PlayStation. But to me, as someone that's console agnostic and plays, doesn't matter, just plays the games, this tells me my September is going to be amazing. And my hope is one releases at the beginning of the month and one releases at the end of the month.
Yeah, I hope so too. For everybody's sake, I hope so. These are two massive time sinks. Tony Todd is like I'm like, yo, Tony Todd, you need to be careful, man, with the stuff you're saying
Seriously.
on social media, because I think this is like the second or third time he's kind of let something slip. But in any case, I think September makes perfect sense for Spider-Man 2. Again, I'm right there with you. I'm hoping that they space these out at least. That would certainly be nice for everybody's time. But I think that they are different enough markets to where Spider-Man 2 is the biggest game for PlayStation this year. Starfield's the biggest game for Xbox this year, right? So like it's gonna be cool to have the Titans kind of go head to head in the same month if this is indeed true. So I'm looking forward to it.
For me, to be totally honest, I think it is true. And everybody, all the insiders have come up with, "Oh, that's what I heard. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard." And the fact that he took the tweet down and
Yep.
no statement has been made after the fact, my guess is he's in a lot of trouble. And this is not the first time we've had voice actors. It's pretty much, the voice actor thing to do. Let's tell everybody when the game's coming.
Yeah. So Tony Todd, maybe stay off Twitter or whatever
Yeah.
for a little while longer, but hopefully it sounds like we're going to hear, about it very publicly in August. So excited. excited to hear more about it. And speaking of hearing more about games, we heard more about Redfall this week as the Redfall Previews went live. So let's talk about that. Some lucky few have been releasing their impressions of Redfall, and early impressions is that the game is good. The consensus is that gunplay and combat are majorly improved from previous Arcane games. Fighting vampires is thrilling, single player feels great, and doesn't have AI bots, apparently. Despite open world and optional co-op, still feels like an Arcane game with lots of world building. Game director Harvey Smith told Eurogamer that they're currently working on removing the always online component for the single player campaign, which is also great news. The positive news about the game is being a bit overshadowed, though. The news that the game did originally have a PS5 version, but after the acquisition, it was canceled, which isn't a huge surprise, but it's great to hear that people are enjoying Redfall. The game comes out in May. It's going to be day one on Game Pass, and I'm really excited to finally get my hands on it. What about you?
Yeah, this is actually one of the games that I've been looking forward to all year. It was my hope when I first previously saw it at the Xbox showcase. I was blown away by it, and there was a lot of people that were apprehensive, and so they should be. A lot of people thought it was going to be an always online and all those tropes that everybody always associates with a new game because it's a new game. But
Right.
from what I'm seeing in all the preview events and seeing how you kill it, some people are saying that the enemies are a little bit spongy, but they are saying that the combat of having to get the enemy to a certain, the vampires are, sorry, get them to a certain health level, and then you've got to stake them through the heart to actually kill them. It adds a little bit of a thrill to the game. And it looks like I'm going to be hooked on this game. This is already one of those games that I love when games come to Game Pass because we can just all say, "Hey, do you want to play this game together?" It's not, "Hey, did you buy this game?" It's, "Hey, the game's on Game Pass. Do you want to play?"
I
So
love it.
this to me is the perfect co-op buddy game, and I'm sure us over at Carpool Gaming, we're all going to be playing together. The
Thousand
whole thing about
percent.
the PS5 version, like whatever, like this shouldn't come as a shock to people. There was supposed to be a PS5 version to Starfield. Like if we think Sony wouldn't have done the same thing, like I'm so over console wars, but that's what gets in the news, right?
Yep. Absolutely, man.
Well, everybody keeps telling me that I should be excited about this. So, Counter-Strike 2 has been revealed ahead of summer 2023 release. Tom Ivan from VGC writes, Valve has officially announced Counter-Strike 2 ahead of its game's release this summer. It will arrive as a free upgrade to Counter-Strike Global Offense, allowing players to bring across their inventory from current game. Please, every developer, do this.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike 2 is the largest technical leap forward in the Counter-Strike's history, ensuring that new features and updates for years to come, according to Valve. All the game's new features will be revealed when it officially launches this summer, but the road to Counter-Strike 2 begins today for some limited tests for select CSGO players. During their testing period, we'll be evaluating subsets of the features to shake out any issues before the worldwide release. Valve said the game will be cleaner, brighter, and better looking. Maps in Counter-Strike 2 are receiving upgrades and overhauls, which leverage all the new Source 2 tools and rendering features. I will be honest here. I have never, ever played Counter-Strike 2. I don't even know people that have played Counter-Strike 2. I've watched a million people play it online, but I have never played it. Seth?
Yeah, I played Counter-Strike. Like Counter-Strike's an old series, man. Like
Yes.
that first one came out in like the 90s, and I remember playing the first one years and years and years ago, but I never played CS:GO. This is one of those franchises that like every so often I'll hear about a new entry and I'm like, "Oh, right. Like there are still people who play that. There's still people who are like way into that." I'm happy for them. For the people who are like really into Counter-Strike, this is huge news, but I'm right there with you. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. But look, man, if you like it, I love it. I'm happy if you're happy. Let us know in the comments below if you're a huge Counter-Strike fan. Maybe we're off base. Maybe Court and I need to play some Counter-Strike 2 or something.
That's what I'm being told. I literally had people on Twitter tell me, "You really got to try this game." Like, all right, man, maybe I'll give it a try. I got a PC now that could probably do it, so we'll see what happens. So that was another episode of Carpool Weekly. We hope you found the information informative, and please leave us a comment, give us a like if you'd like. See you next week.
Bye.